Welcome to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti. We come to you from Newark, New Jersey. In a moment, we are going to go inside to the district office of Congressman Donald Payne Jr. Also in this week's show, 2 new casinos are opening in Atlantic City, New Jersey. The question is that good news or bad news? We'll also talk to the prosecutor from Ocean County. As opioid deaths go up in most of the state, they're going down in Ocean County, and that used to be ground zero. Also, former New Jersey Governor Jim McGreevey is upset that the current governor is cutting money from his prison reentry program. We'll talk to the former governor. And now we will go into the district office of Congressman Donald Payne Jr. His name has quite a legacy in Newark, New Jersey. This is a statue in tribute to his father, Donald Payne Sr., who also was a congressman representing the district that represents Newark, New Jersey. As a matter of fact, Congressman Donald Payne Jr. is in the same office as his father, where we begin our interview with the congressman. Let's talk about this past weekend. You went to one of the Town Halls for Life, which is an offshoot of the Walk for Life and the rally in Washington, D.C. Right. What was it like?
Oh, it was very energizing. You know, these young people are really, making their feelings understood, and we're trying to help them understand that, registering to vote and putting in people that support the issues that you are for are the people you need in the Congress. You know, in a perfect world, and we would love to see, they're saying it's not about Republican or Democrat or red and blue, which for them, that is the way they look at it. But in reality, it is Republican and Democrat and red and blue, because the Republicans are the ones standing in the way of any sensible gun control laws in the Congress. And so, I tell them that, in most cases, you're right. It should not be red or white or about party. But in this instance, it is the Republican Party that is standing in the way.
But they're mad, they seem to be mad at everybody in Congress. They seem to look at Congress and say, why can't you get anything done when it comes to gun legislation? And you would think that, especially, for instance, when the Democrats were in control and they had the presidency, that something could have been done.
Right. There are a lot of people that would love to see gun control laws go through, limiting gun violence. And I tell them that it's been a problem in African American communities for decades. So, I'm glad that the majority has finally come along, and, now that they're impacted by it, they want something to happen which will allow, African Americans to be part of that.
What specifically
solution.
Would you like to see done?
Closing the gun show loopholes. You don't have to have a background check in order to buy a gun at a gun show. So we need to close those loopholes, because what they do is they get down there and they get someone, a little shady that wants to make a buck. He goes in and buys the gun. It's like the kid that waited outside the store. Hey, could you get me a beer?
Right.
And you give somebody the money and they get the beer. It's the same thing. Hey, could you get this gun for me?
Since you mentioned that first, does that mean you're not as interested in a ban on military-style weapons?
Oh, no, that's a big part of it, absolutely. I'm just talking about things that, I don't understand why the majority is against them. Everyone having a background check that's buying a gun? I mean, what's the partisanship in that?
Because a lot of people don't seem to be running on that. Does the NRA have that much power? Are politicians running for office afraid of the issue?
It appears so. Obviously they must have a lot of power, because the Republicans keep bowing and bending to it.
Second Amendment rights people will look at a couple of incidents recently. The one at YouTube where a handgun was used wasn't a military-style weapon, and the one in Germany where a truck was used. And they would point at that and say, it's not the weapon. If somebody wants to kill, they'll be able to kill. So why are we going after a weapon when there seems to be a real problem with the way we deal with mentally disturbed people in this country?
I think that the weapon is still still a problem. You know, those are anomalies. Someone using a truck. We had the incident in New York. Those are anomalies. Most people use weapons. You know, this whole thing, well, guns don't kill people. People kill people. Yeah, people kill people and they use a gun. So the problem is, I was just watching a comedian on the weekend, and he was talking about, you know, this whole issue that, you know, people say, well, you know, if someone's going to kill, they'll use any weapon they can get. So he said, well, if a guy has a knife and he stabs 100 people, that means 97 people just stood there and watched the first 3 get stabbed. You know, a gun, a military-style gun, does the job that it's intended to do. And that's to kill people.
Right. You are a ranking member, and as you said before we started, maybe could be chair, if the midterms go right, of the Subcommittee on Emergency Preparedness and Communications.
Correct.
For Homeland Security.
Yes.
People point to what happened in Orlando, in Parkland, and said that I thought we fixed that problem. After 9/11, there was a commission that was put together mainly because agencies weren't talking to each other.
Right.
And there certainly was a breakdown in Florida. So it continues to be a problem. It is something you need to look at.
Right, absolutely. And you know, there are examples of where it's worked very well. After the Boston bombing, you know, the state, federal, and locals worked really well together. It's working in a lot of places. It's gotten better, but it's not anywhere where we need to be.
But you've passed legislation specifically to deal with problems
Absolutely.
like this. And so it must be particularly disconcerting to you when you see a breakdown.
Absolutely. Homeland was 11 years old at the time, and they still had not reached interoperability within the department. And so my bill basically said, you know, knock it off. You were instructed to come together as a group, and now's the time. And so I made it a law. And so it's really helped, you know, facilitate them moving towards the end goal of what the commission's report says.
We dealt with Second Amendment issues the entire first segment. I want to talk to you about Amazon. Mm-hmm. I want to talk to you about how Newark is changing, and your family's relationship with Martin Luther King. When Jersey Matters continues with Congressman Donald Payne right after this.